Have you ever noticed your snake plant looking healthy on the outside but hiding a problem deep inside? That's exactly what happened to my Golden Hahnii Snake Plant. A few days ago, while inspecting the plant, I noticed some unusual damage developing around the crown. At first, it didn't seem too serious, but it was enough to make me take a closer look. Today, I'll show you what happened, what may have caused it, and the complete step-by-step process I followed to try and save this plant. And hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll know what to look for and how to act before the damage becomes severe. Hello and welcome to Your Garden Buddy, where we share practical gardening tips, plant care guides, and real gardening experiences to help you grow healthier plants. Now, let me introduce you to the plant at the center of today's rescue mission. This is my Golden Hahnii Snake Plant, also known as the bird's nest snake plant. It's a beautiful compact variety known for its golden variegation and easy care nature. I've had this plant for quite some time, and it has rewarded me with several new shoots over the years. In fact, a few months ago, one of those shoots accidentally broke off. Instead of discarding it, I planted it in a well-draining soil mix, and today it's growing happily as an independent plant. That's one reason I always encourage propagation whenever possible. Healthy propagations not only help expand your collection, but they can also save a variety you love if something unexpected happens to the mother plant. And in this case, that lesson turned out to be very valuable. Based on the symptoms I was seeing, the plant appeared to be suffering from crown rot, a condition that can affect bird's nest snake plants when excess moisture remains trapped around the growing point. Ideally, problems like this should be treated as soon as they are noticed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to work on this plant immediately. By the time I came back about a week later, the condition had deteriorated noticeably. Some leaves had completely dried up, and the damage had spread to parts of the plant that initially appeared unaffected. At this stage, I wasn't sure how much of the plant could still be saved. The good news was that several shoots still looked healthy and had a strong chance of recovery. So rather than giving up on the plant, I decided to separate the shoots, inspect the damage, and try to rescue as much of it as possible. Let's begin the rescue process. The first step is to remove all the damaged leaves. This helps loosen the shoots and makes them easier to extract. Notice how easily some of these leaves are coming away from the plant. You can also see that many of them are badly rotted at the base. Any leaves that were still firm and strongly attached were left in place. Here's the plant after removing the damaged leaves, and these are all the leaves that came off during the process. I had lightly watered the plant the previous day to make extraction easier. Moist soil helps reduce root damage when separating the shoots. At first, I tried removing multiple shoots together, but quickly realized that wasn't the best approach. So I started separating them one by one. This is the first shoot I've extracted, and here's the second. As I separate them, you can see that the roots are still healthy. They may not be very deep, but they look firm and show very little damage, which is encouraging. While cleaning one of the shoots, I accidentally removed the top leaf while trying to cut away a black, damaged section. Fortunately, the broken area still looks healthy, and there is a small growing point attached. I'll try my best to propagate it as well. As I continued, one cluster came out as a single piece with 3 connected shoots. I then separated them individually for a closer inspection. And here are all the shoots I've managed to save from the plant. Now that the shoots have been separated, the next step is to clean them thoroughly. I'll carefully wash away all the old soil and remove any remaining black or damaged tissue. To clean the affected areas, I'm spraying water with a little pressure so that the loose, rotten portions can be washed away without causing further damage to the healthy tissue. The goal here is to expose the healthy parts, reduce the risk of infection, and prepare the plants for treatment. And here are the shoots after washing. As you can see, the roots look healthy and are now much easier to inspect. The next step is to dry these shoots properly. For that, I'm placing them in a pot with plenty of drainage holes. This allows any excess water to drain away and improves air circulation around the roots and crown. Now I'll leave these shoots in a shaded, well-ventilated area for at least 1 day. This drying period is important because it allows the cleaned and cut surfaces to dry properly before the next treatment step, reducing the chances of further rot or infection. After letting the shoots dry for a day, it's time for the treatment. For this, I'll be using a diluted hydrogen peroxide solution. The hydrogen peroxide I have is a 6% solution. To make it safe for the plants, I've diluted it to approximately 1%. If you're using a different concentration, make sure to calculate the dilution accordingly. Hydrogen peroxide can help clean the affected areas and may reduce the presence of harmful fungi and bacteria on the plant surface. To prepare the solution, I'm adding about 100 milliliters of 6% hydrogen peroxide to 500 milliliters of water. Once the solution is ready, I'll dip each shoot for about 1 to 2 minutes. I'm making sure that the crown area, roots, and previously damaged portions come in contact with the solution. After the treatment, I'll remove the shoots and let them rest for another 10 to 15 minutes. This gives the excess solution time to drain away before repotting. While the shoots are drying, let's prepare the potting mix that will be used for transplanting them. For this project, I'm using old potting soil that I had previously revived and prepared for reuse. If you'd like to learn exactly how I recycle and rejuvenate old potting soil, check out the video linked in the cards above. Since these plants were affected by rot, good drainage is especially important to prevent excess moisture from collecting around the roots and crown. Now it's time for the most important step, repotting the plants. I've selected a few small pots for this project. Smaller pots tend to hold less excess moisture, which is especially important when dealing with plants recovering from rot. I've also placed a plastic mesh over the drainage holes to prevent the potting mix from washing out. Now I'm filling the pots about halfway with the potting mix. This makes it easier to position the plants correctly before adding the remaining soil. And with that, the first 3 pots are ready. Before planting, I need to decide which shoots should go into which pots. This is the largest shoot and looks quite promising. It has only minor damage, so I'll plant it separately. This is the healthiest shoot of the bunch, so it gets its own pot as well. I don't want to risk it being affected by any of the more damaged divisions. These 2 shoots will go together, and it looks like I'll need 1 additional pot for the remaining divisions. So I've taken another small pot and filled it halfway with the potting mix. Now I can start positioning each shoot carefully. Once the shoots are positioned correctly, I fill the remaining space with soil and gently firm it around the roots to provide support. One important thing to remember is that the crown should always remain above the soil level. Burying the crown too deeply can trap moisture around the growing point and increase the chances of rot returning. Now, let me finish repotting the remaining shoots. And there we have it. All the divisions have been repotted. Now it's a waiting game. Hopefully, these plants will recover well and grow into healthy new snake plants, adding even more plants to my collection. Now that all the divisions have been repotted, I'll avoid thorough watering for now. Instead, I'll lightly spray water to keep the soil moist, as the potting mix already contains some moisture. I'm also making sure not to spray water directly into the crown. For the next few weeks, these plants will stay in a bright, shaded spot with good air circulation while they recover. And with that, the rescue operation is complete. What started as a single plant affected by crown rot has now become several separate plants with a fresh chance to grow. Hopefully, all of them survive and thrive. I'll keep you updated on their progress in future videos, so don't forget to subscribe to Your Garden Buddy. If you've dealt with crown rot in snake plants, let me know your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy gardening.